What's your take on the secondary depth, excuse me. Can't talk right now with Verrett and Ward back. So my take on the secondary depth is pretty much this. I think the depth in general right now is very good. Um Ambry Thomas had a very rough offseason by all accounts. He had a rough preseason, but he also had a rough offseason. He had a rough preseason last year, and he ended up doing very well during the season. So I'm not writing him off at this point. I don't know. But Lenore currently is playing very well. Womack has shown a lot of flashes that make you excited. And then Mosley and Mooney Ward are playing like Pro Bowl caliber quarters. Now, when Verrett comes back, I think Verrett at this point is a little bit of a safety net for this season. I don't really know where he fits in. Mosley and Ward aren't not going to start. They're playing awfully too well. Maybe you move him to nickel. Verrett is capable of playing nickel, but he's not really played nickel. He is an outside corner. And Lenore is playing really, really well at the moment. He's playing great versus the run. He's playing great versus the pass. So he's doing both of those things at a high enough level where it's tough to envision me seeing Lenore getting replaced. Verrett does have an extensive injury history that, I don't want to rehash, but it's something that has to be discussed anytime you're talking about Jason Verrett. As good a player as he is, that's really the question mark behind him. He is coming off of an ACL. I wouldn't be shocked if he's a guy that practices, but the Niners just kind of keep him on the back burner if somebody gets hurt. It's more of a desperate situation for them. I don't think they need Jason Verrett at this point. I don't think Jason Verrett needs to risk his body at this point, given how injured he's been. This season might be a great opportunity for him to get healthy. Who knows? Emmanuel Mosley could walk next offseason. He could get a lot of money in free agency. They could re-sign Jason Verrett on another one-year deal. He has another one season to get healthy this year, and they bring him back, and he competes for the starting job opposite of Mooney Ward next year. That could be the possibility with Jason Verrett. But at this point, I don't see Jason Verrett entering the active 53 at this point. He doesn't play special teams. And I don't see him starting at corner as good as he is just because of his injury history and how well those other guys have been playing. And so from that standpoint, I don't think I do think the Jason Verrett conversation becomes interesting. Now, I think he's a great safety net to have because if somebody does get injured and Jason Verrett is healthy, that's a top 10 corner, top 15 corner in the NFL. But instead, if everyone's healthy, you could just allow Verrett to get healthy and still be okay. So that would be my outlook on Verrett. In regards to Jimmie Ward, I touched on this earlier in the show, but I would like to continue elaborating on it, right? I don't think they're going to bench Tashaun Gipson. I think the way they handle the logistics of the 53 roster, whether he's on the practice squad with Tashaun Gipson, is going to be interesting. They've never kept five safeties in their 53-man roster in the history of Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch. They're going to keep four safeties no matter what because their best special teams players are their two backup safeties in George Odom and then Tarvarius Moore, who's currently hurt. So once Jimmie Ward comes back, he's going to be starting next to Hufanga, we know. We saw the capability of a three-safety defense last year with Tart, Hufanga, and Ward. I do think we see that again with Tashaun Gipson, Ward, and Hufanga. I think they remove Dre Greenlaw and they go dime a little bit more like they did last year. And if that's the case, I do think Tashaun Gipson's going to see the field. Now, is he going to be a guy where they elevate him on game day and he's on the practice squad like a Malik Turner? I don't know. Somebody might poach him off the practice squad because he's played well, but then he's also a veteran safety. A lot of teams have veteran safeties. There's not a market for veteran safeties at this point, really, in the NFL. Once you hit 30, teams really just look to get younger at that position, or they're signing you for the veteran minimum, which is kind of the position Tashaun Gipson's in. So maybe somebody else re-signs him, though I don't know. I think the logistics of how they handle him on the 53-man roster is going to be interesting, but I think he's still going to play when Ward comes back. So that would be my outlook on the secondary depth. I think Verrett is total insurance policy. If he plays, it's because somebody gets hurt. Otherwise, I don't see how he fits in, given that making him an active 53 roster member when he doesn't play special teams, and you still have long-term concerns about his health, because of the injuries he's all recovered from, is a question mark. And then with Ward, he's obviously going to come back and start. He's going to resume his role that he's played in this defense the last 3 years. The question is, how is Tashaun Gibson going to fit in even with Ward? Because I don't think they're just going to completely remove him out of this defense. It's too nice to have a guy that plays like a veteran, who's so assignment sound, plays so steady in the post, just understands pass concepts, just understands how to play the safety position. It's too valuable to have that, I think, and not have him be on the field at some point.